boys.
You must be wondering, who is this young-looking girl standing here? I might be also calling myself young. I don't know if all of you think I'm older. But I was also introduced in a field where youngsters are not common, education, right? And when I'm given the opportunity here and I was talking about it, I'm genuinely speechless after watching the video we just watched. I feel like if we can replay this video every day to become lifelong learners, we're sorted. Because we're not just talking about ourselves, but we're talking about raising a community of powerful girls. And today, when I joined education 7 years ago, and today when I stand at it with so many institutions, I keep saying this, that education was not by choice to me, but chance. But I took it up as an opportunity, and today I stay in it because it keeps the child in me alive. Just like those children walked by, and just like how we think, why is the sky pink, to why are these colors of the flag like this, I feel keeping the child in ourselves is actually true education. And today, I also would like to take the opportunity to congratulate each change maker sitting in this room who's taken the opportunity to come here, be the child again, transform yourself with the available knowledge, and share a strong wisdom that women are going to become the future of the world. And we are going to lead and not just follow. So congratulations on that. When I talk about education, I define education as a simple verse. I say, education is taking ownership of our learning. It's not being forced to learn, it's not being equipped to learn, but it's genuinely taking ownership of every responsibility we hold and every learning that we process. And this process of learning has to happen with courage, commitment, and a lot of compassion, is also what I believe. Adding on to this, just like those little girls spoke about it, I feel education today is not just about raising students, but it's about raising powerful girls and responsible boys. Usually, the adjective is quite interchanged. We talk about power to boys and we talk about responsibility to women. And I feel we can look at it at a different lens today. And education for us has to be about creating those powerful girls, because every teacher in that classroom who tells that girl child, saying that you can push that barrier extra, is not just changing her classroom environment, but changing her future. Every principal or a leadership role in entrepreneurship who supports another woman standing by her and saying you can lead up to these roles is not just changing her life, but changing the culture of the organization. Every mother who tells her daughter, saying that this is not your limit, the sky is the limit, is actually revolutionizing the next generation of women in the country. I often feel women empowerment is always attached to a stigma that it's about degrading men. No, it's about uplifting women. And we often talk about equality in gender bias. Even today, we heard the word equality, and we're always thriving for that empowerment in equality. But I want to put down to, I'm not sure of all the national delegates that here, but in our country, we're equal. We're 49.8% women and 50.2% men. And let's not count that, we're 50-50. So equality exists in our system. But what we require is equity. Like those children told on the camera, to like the ma'am who was telling that story, it's about giving us that extra effort, giving that extra support, and giving us that extra confidence to believe in ourselves, and saying it's equity that's important and not equality. And this has to be taught in those classrooms to those children and to every woman out there. We're not craving for equality, but we are practicing equity in our institution. And I'm sure that's exactly being done at Art of Living. And thank you to Bhanumati ma'am, because it's the support given to us to express ourselves, the support and the encouragement given to us to believe in ourselves and build that confidence that all of us are sitting down here, and it's pure equity and no equality. And thank you for that. You heard me. If you saw my introduction, you saw teacher training, you saw well-being, you saw humanistic approach. But for me, education has always been about courage, confidence, and ownership building. You must have the courage to change because the existing education system is not enough. Are we going to still wait to be empowered, or are we going to take up the power that holds within us, is the question we need to ask ourselves. Are we going to follow the change, or are we going to create the change, is a big question in front of us, right? And with all these juggles, what I've realized in education, education has become a pure subject of acquiring knowledge. But education has no meaning if you can't change that knowledge into wisdom. It's not about understanding and learning that tomato is a fruit, but it's about not putting it in a fruit salad. And how are we teaching our children do that is a question in front of us. Are we just focusing on knowledge, or are we converting that knowledge to wisdom? Are we only talking about skills, or are we encouraging our children to develop those skills, is the question. And finally, when I asked myself in this rapid changing world of education, everyone asks this question that what's going to keep changing in life, right? And how do we adapt to this change? But I asked a question quite differently when I came into education. I asked myself, and it's probably a question for all of us to think, what will not change in the education system? Sometimes focusing on things that will not change will yield us more than keeping pace with what's changing every day. So if I throw up a question to most of you sitting here, the first thing that comes to you, what will not change in education system? From America to Nigeria to wherever you are, from all parts of the world, I think that's one question that you need to ask yourself. And probably the answer to that question, if you can raise my hands, is discipline, culture, respect, respecting others are common scenarios that we all expect in an educated child. Do you agree with me? Yes? So what exactly doesn't change in the education system is actually providing and embracing values. Values to be respected as well as respect someone. Because I believe the huge, big part of respectfulness is about respecting yourself first. Like it says, just be me, right? If you're not being yourself, how do you respect or expect respect to come by you is a question. When I stand on this stage, or I've stood on various stages, one thing that I walk up onto the stage is not having the fear of being judged, which is probably most of our concerns. But the question is, I'm an educator and I'm a lifelong learner. I'm happy to make mistakes, but I'm even happier to say I was wrong and I'm going to correct it. The only rule as an educator that we have is don't make the same mistake again. Because when you make the mistake again, it becomes a choice and no more mistakes. So the only request I have with all these powerful women sitting in front of me is don't have the fear of being judged. It's not about adapting to the system. It's about creating a system for thrive. And I also want to tell you all today that as I started off saying education is ownership, it's also a combination of courage, confidence, and commitment. And as you unlock the keys for yourself, the only request I have for each one of you is to make sure don't lock the door once you unlock that key. Wait for many more sisters and brothers to walk through that door and to follow your leadership. Let's keep that key of change alive for 10 more people around us. And I also feel we're all in art of living, trying to live the art here in the process and not just hear it and read it, but also experience it. As I walked into this campus, to my door thrill here, one thing that was constant between every volunteer standing by here is not about embracing their happiness, but they were continuously striving to make sure how people around them are happy. And I think that is the vision of art of living, right? Let's embrace that into every sisterhood that we have. Let's make sure that we might have a difficult door to open, but let my sister not have that difficulty in opening that door because she has a bigger door to unlock. Let's embrace this point of sisterhood. Let's make the change happen. And congratulations to all the teachers who are sitting here. And I believe You're not just teachers, you're learners. I started something called learner-centric education system and not a teacher-centric education system in a society today, where we're not just explaining change, but we're experiencing change. We walk into those classrooms not by thinking, how much can I teach, but how much can I learn? When you come into the parent community, it's not about the parent saying, it is my daughter or son's school. When is it going to become my school and my partner for growth? These are questions I want each teacher and each educator to ask themselves. And I moved from student training to teacher training only because I believe that one of you can change hundreds of future, and it's worth us changing hundreds of you. So let's put in our system and say that I also came into social media education, not because it keeps a lot in me alive, but also for the fact that I want the young India, the young global leaders to come into education. Education is not a retirement plan. Education is the future to build a great retirement plan. Retirement plan, not with the finances at home, but the people whom you can go back and connect and the people who will come back to you with that respect. So let's build an education system where youngsters strive to bring in innovation and experimentation to this process. Education is a slow process. It's a committed process. It's a confusion-set process, but only with confusions is when great ideas come out. So let's confuse between me, the child, and the parent and create a system where every girl in that video strives to become a speaker on this stage tomorrow. And that's what we're going to celebrate a few years from now. And I want to remember and tell all of you that it's not about that student just speaking there. It's about removing that confidence. It's about watching that video again and again for those 30 girls and reminding the power that they have within and the power that they can achieve and the power to not just enlighten themselves, but 10 other sisters among them. That is education. So let's embrace that. Without taking so much time, I would like to hope, pray, and make sure that every girl child studies here will become a powerful one, will become a change maker, and the hall is going to be filled with girls empowered with art of living coming back to talk about art of living. And that's my wish for today. And I want to come back on the stage that day and sit down and watch like that audience to see what else can I learn from that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. And may each one of you be the change maker you want to be, the change maker you can be, and the change maker you should be for the sisters around you. With that, thank you so much. Jai Gurudev.